What's up, guys? This is Valor Gaming, your channel for fresh Arena of Valor content, and I have just played a really good ranked match with Yena, one of my favorite heroes when it comes to available skins, because I have just purchased the Wave skin a couple of months ago. And despite the fact that I wanted to master Yena, obviously it did not happen, because the last game is about half a year ago. It's even longer, 8 months from now on. And I just decided to play her in a ranked match because I want to use her more often, but I just happen to play a lot other heroes instead of her. So this is a new Yena video in a ranked match, and I'm going to show you my build at first because we want to focus on what I've played in the upcoming gameplay. Oh my goodness, I've misclicked so many times. So here we are. I've been choosing the semi-tanker. What's the rest of the build? Damage dealing, whatever, hybrid build for Yena. And as you can see, it is a hybrid build. So we've got a couple of damage items with the Spear of Longinus, as well as Fenrir's Tooth. But the rest of it in the equipment section is more sorts of utility or tankiness, with the Shield of the Lost and Medallion of Troy to do something against the mages. And with our Gilded Greaves, we've got at least a little resort against all that crowd control stuff that is going to be thrown at us. And last but not least, we've got Blade of Eternity to have a nice resurrection buff and have a little bit more playtime before we see the resurrection screen with that lovely timer when everything turns grey. Enchantment wise, I've decided to take something more tweaked around damage with Deadly Claw and Desperate Duel. I think Desperate Duel is actually a really good enchantment on her, because you are going to be in the laning phase at least for the first couple of minutes, and this is going to improve your game. And then with the minor enchantments with River Treader and Axe of Sacrifice, we do get a little damage buff. And in addition to that, with the Treader, we've got some sustainability as well. Arcana wise, I've taken a pretty standard build that you will see in many of my videos. That is 10 times Onslaught for normal attacks and armor pierce, 10 times Assassinate for normal attack buff and some movement speed, at least 10%, so we move a little bit faster. And we've got Skewer as the last enchantment in order to give us some additional normal attack damage and the armor pierce that we need to shred through armor, because as you can, or as you have seen in the equipment section, we do not really have anything great to shred through tanks. But most of the damage is coming from her skills or her abilities anyway, so that's good to go for. Talent wise, I've taken Flicker because Flicker gives us more opportunities to set up nice pushes with her S2 when she is in single blade mode, as well as having an option to get back to safety and teleport through obstacles if we need to get the fuck out of a fight. So this is the build. If you liked it, remind yourself to hit the like button and put some in the comment section below. What you think about Yena, how your game went with her lately, or what hero you would rather like to see in this channel. And yeah, feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell to never miss any of my videos. And that should be it for the intro. Let's have some gameplay, because that is the reason why you clicked on the video anyway. So let's get started. So here we go, and I was delighted to tell you right from the start, we have a decent, or rather said balanced team combo with a mage, a real assassin, and a functioning dual lane on the top lane. And in the first couple of minutes, my enemy that I'm going to face is Scud, an enemy who is able to burst everything down in a couple of seconds and who has become quite tanky after the latest rework, which I think is about 2 or 3 updates ago, but that did not change his overall performance, because he has become actually quite good, especially in the laning phase. So you need to be aware of him, because he's able to burst you down in a couple of seconds if his combo is used to the fullest. So as you can see, we took a good beating when we went toe-to-toe with him. So now it is the time to play a little bit more careful. So I was using my S2 from the dual blading phase, and whoa, that was super close. I thought that he would already have me gotten killed, and now is the time to be not killed at all. Illumia comes and saves the day, and she manages to get the first kill here on my lane. It's just an assist for me, but it doesn't matter because that team play was ace right on the spot, and thanks Illumia for helping me out, because otherwise I think I would not see any light despite the one at the end of the tunnel, and of course that's not something that we want to have too often in the game. So I'm sending my thanks here because that was actually really well played with the right perception and a good closer look on the minimap, and the battle is completely going on the dual lane. As you can see, Leville is about to enter the fight and trying to defend himself against a bigger amount of enemies. Everyone is clumping towards the dual lane now. Mina is coming back, but yeah, that was actually quite close, and a good thing that our team made it out at least somehow alive without getting too much damage on the tower, because that would be not that helpful at the beginning of the game. And now Mina is dead, so we are sitting on 2 versus 2. So what I have to admit is that I am not the keenest player when it comes to using her combo sequence or this kind of really important switch between duo and single blade mode. That's something that I need to practice. I don't know how many games I played on Yena so far, but I can tell it's not that much, so I'm not super confident on how to play her. So this is more sorts of a trial and error video here, and I was really looking forward to playing her a little bit more often. And now, as you can see, Scott is really low, and I think that was a mistake to go back in. I think he had the idea to burst me down with a couple of his skills, but my health were just enough, and the sidestep was then the key to success, so I killed him in advance, and now I need to go back again. So my game is hold the lane, try to deal with Scott every single time we need to, and get back as soon as possible when my health falls into that kind of really critical area. And so far, so good. Everything worked out quite nicely. Let's talk about the team composition, at least for a second. So we have a, I think, decent matchup against Scud. Not too crazy, not too bad. Here's another kill, so I think we kind of dealt with him in a quite nice order. I lost a little bit too much health here, but all in all, it went fairly nice. But now I need to be careful because Violet already made an entrance here, so I try to get the health pack. Yeah, here we go, and now she's coming towards us. So we've got us in the solo lane spot. We do have Illumia in the mage lane spot, as I said in one of my earlier videos before when I was talking about the strongest mages. I think she's actually quite powerful. She's got really good crowd control. Her abilities deal more damage than you would think right from the start when you play her at the first level. She's going up against Helen? No, Helen's not the right one. Yeah, well, the enemies had 2 supporters, so it was not really that clear who was playing the mid lane role. So they've got Helen on the one hand, and they've got Grok on the other hand. Both are kind of real supporters, so it's hard to distinguish who was playing which role. But against Helen, Illumia should not have any kind of problem, because Helen is just no match for the damage output, and Grok could be outplayed by just hanging around here without any problem. I got myself carried away a little bit too much. I think that guy could have entered the fight a little bit earlier than Xanis, but it is as it is. So I was caught here, and now he's able to retaliate when as soon as they hit the tower. So Mage setup should be fine. In the jungle, we have Zenith. He's more some sort of low elo hero, but every single time you play him in low elo, you usually have a really good damage output and a really good score on your damage tracking. He is facing... I don't even know who is the jungler in the enemy team or on the enemy team. Hard to tell. I think he's missing. Is he missing? Isn't he missing? Well, whatever. They've got Helen, Grug, and they've got Violet in the top tier or in the top spot when we're talking about the dual lane. So Violet is actually a really strong hero. She always comes back, so she's not really on the top tier list, and then all of a sudden she gets some kind of comeback and she's been really nice. Oh, Terry, the new champion, is the jungler, so she's a force to be reckoned with because most of the players don't really know what she does, so you need to be careful not to underestimate her because her damage output is actually quite good. So that's the jungler. I think it is an advance or an advantage that people are not really knowing what she's capable of doing, therefore you need to play a little bit more careful around her. But the matchup with Yena and Laville on the dual lane should have no problem against Violet and Grug, or Violet and Helen, whatever the enemy is thrown against our faces, because Yena is such a strong support right now after her rework. She has just become one of the best supporters out there, and she has finally gotten a chance to deal damage, because beforehand she was more some sort of passive bodyguard, but now she is the passive bodyguard with great damage output as well, with a really nice true damage healing effect, and I just decided to go back. This was not worth it. Too many heroes, and this is one of the rare games where I actually try to play super safe, trying to hit some of my abilities here. And as you can see, my combo game is not on point because I should have switched to the dual blade mode earlier, because that is going to give you another source of damage. So you should always switch between those two damage modes. Yeah, it's a damage mode. That's how I would face it. And 3-2-3 is fine, but of course it's not the super high performance. But I was fine with that. I was working towards my goal to be in the participation all the time whenever a fight would have been played, and therefore I was good. I felt confident that we would be able to win the fight, because as you can see, the score is already 13 versus 6, so we've got double the kills than the enemies, and we do have a good tower game as well, and a Zenith who is kind of keen on taking down the big monsters. So that is the perfect setup for a win. Good laning phase, a lot of farm is kind of distinguished between the two teams, and with the focus on the important targets such as those monsters, we do have a nice setup. So I was actually quite surprised that the overall performance of our team was so good, with a clear focus. Zenith would be there whenever we need him, so now Yena is there to start to enter the fight, dropping a little bit low, but now she's taunting the enemies, and now it's time for me to go in with one of my combos. Used Flicker here in order to position myself a little bit better, and now we've got a triple kill on our Zenith, which is always nice and always welcome, because that just means business. Triple kill Zenith with a lot of damage and a lot of gold. That just means super cool business, and now's the time to get away and get back home, because Violet is going to kill me with another pot shot from her as one. And I was super happy. Like I was really surprised by myself that I played it that clean, not in terms of the combos, but in terms of being not over aggressively, trying to participate in team fights in the best possible way for my team, shoving enemies around with my S2 and going home every single time I had the feeling that we need to. And now we do have another approach here with our S2. I should switch to dual blade mode right now. Tower is being punished and I'm jumping around like a crazy ferret. And again, we have a really good push going on. When Illumia is standing in the backline like she is right now, being protected by both Mina and Laville in the last sequence, she has great potential because her area of effect damage is actually really, really good. And I think we played it quite well. Like the whole team composition and how the team was working together was really, really solid. And as you can see, we have managed to get into tower range. Only 3 towers of the enemies are still standing, and the only tower that they have been breaking down so far is none. No tower. No tower. Enemy defense is now diminished into pieces. Here comes the Terry ult. It's coming back and forth, so yeah. As I already said when I was playing Terry, there are a few parallels to Draven in League of Legends, especially the ult feels exactly as Draven's ult, but yeah. I mean, designers. Oh, that was misplaced. So here comes Laville. We're closing in again. I'm fairly low on health, so I again decided to go back home and start the battle with full health. I think we are a little bit too close to the enemy tower right now because there is not an entire focused push. Double kill for Scott here, unfortunately, so we need to wait for our resources to go back. But Zenith has another idea to go and attack Slayer because he was just aiming for the Slayer push. And you can see how much damage he deals to the Dark Slayer. I don't really need to be here because he could have just soloed that guy without any problem. And as you can see, he's already level 15, both buffs applied. And this guy knew what he was doing. That was obvious. So really good game from the Okason, or how his name is pronounced. Good overview, good map coordination, good feeling on when to get into the bigger wildling races, not being exposed. I mean, we've been playing 13 minutes right now, and there has never been an option where the enemies would be able to steal any of those big minions from us. So pretty good. And now it's time for another team fight, and that should basically settle the deal. Like, if we get another team fight with a positive outcome, that should be enough for us to end it. So I don't know what Mina was doing here. I mean, she was going in really tightly. Really lucky that that Grug hook did not connect. So we had another option here, and while I missed my ability on Violet, I still had been able to target Terry here, get another kill for me. I mean, my assisting game is better than my kill game, but it doesn't matter because, as I always try to highlight, this is a team effort. So we're playing as a team. We win and we lose as a team. And so far, so good. Everything looks quite bright. We've still got 5 people in game. Enemy only got 2. And now it's just basically trying to end it with the last attempt. We do have 3 big minions, and the core is already receiving so much damage that this was a victory, and that victory was planned right ahead from the beginning of the game with a good focus of the team. Everyone was playing their position quite well, and yeah, I was glad to participate in a kind of good way. I had the feeling that I threw my wage into the scale and had a good performance overall, and you guys are going to see 10.9, so not the best but not the worst. So I'm in the middle of the pack. Not the greatest damage, not the greatest damage taken, you know, over 40%, but participation was good, so I was happy. that was a happy game, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are going to throw likes all over the place. And yeah, Yena is a fun character to play, so if you haven't used her in quite a while, pick up that lady because she's actually really, really good. So thanks for watching. Have a nice evening. Stay healthy, and bye-bye.